6, 7, 8. I believe it's not too late. Together we can change the world. Lay the puzzle pieces out, find out what it's all about. Together we can change the world. Can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for your help. Together we can change the world. Some parts where it's been charted, roll your sleeves up, let's get started. Together we can change the world. Together we can change the world. With our hands and with our hearts, we can dare to make a start. Together we can change the world. What if we spoke with one voice, knowing that we had a choice? Together we can change the world. Can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for your help. Together we can change the world. Some parts where it's been charted, roll your sleeves up, let's get started. Together we can change the world. Together we can change the world. Change your mind and change your life. Set aside the fear and strife. Together we can change the world. When we open up our eyes and we start to realize, together we can change the world. Change your mind. Can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for your help. Together we can change the world. Some parts where it's been charted, roll your sleeves up, let's get started. Together we can change the world. Can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for your help. Together we can change the world. Some parts where it's been charted, roll your sleeves up, let's get started. Together we can change the world. Together we can change the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe it's not too late. Together we can change the world.
Good morning, everyone. We are live from the Prince of Wales School on Thursday, the 11th of February 2021. And I'm delighted to say that we are joined this morning by Kirsten. Good morning, Kirsten.
Good morning, and good morning, everybody who's listening.
How are you this morning, Kirsten?
I'm very well, thank you. And
Would you like
yourself?
I'm very well indeed. Would you like to
Good.
introduce the job that you do and why you're here to talk to us this morning?
Certainly. So I'm one of a team of recycling officers working for Dorset Council. And part of my job is often to go around into schools in person. I have been to Prince of Wales on a number of occasions, and I hope to in person later on when this all gets sorted out. But lovely to see you virtually today.
Well, it's great to have you with us. And I think you've got some important things to share with us today.
I have. Shall I make a start?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Lovely. Okay, good morning, everybody. What I'm going to be doing today is talking to you all about recycling and reducing your waste. I'm going to start showing you some things that are made from recycled items, but what I'd like you to do in the meantime, maybe with your chat bar, is to let me know what you think recycling is. So, and I'll be having a looking out for that, and I'm sure Mr Spracklen will too. So I'm going to start off with this. Now this looks like a fleece hat, but it's actually made out of 5 plastic bottles, would you believe it?
Wow.
So what happens is, I'll put the hat out the way. They break those bottles down into very tiny pellets, which you might be able to see there. And then they push the pellets through very tiny holes to make threads. And then the threads are made into the hat. I'm going to leave that there now. And then I'm going to ask you what you think this might be made from. And that is made from sweet wrappers, or lots of different sweet wrappers. You've got glass here, and that is made actually just from recycled glass. We've got a pencil case. We've got lots of pencil cases actually. That is recycled from a car tyre. Another pencil case here, and that is made from juice cartons. You can see some on the outside, you can see some underneath and on the sides, and then the ingredients you can see are in the middle. So that's made from juice cartons.
Kirsten, we've got lots of people saying good morning today. We've got good morning from Jessica and Joshua.
Good morning.
Good morning from Mia and Arthur, and good morning from William. EVP says a big hello. Have a lovely day, Evie. We've got a good morning from Charlotte and Emma, and a good morning from Olive and Evie. Joel's answered your first question, which was about recycling. He says it's new. It's making new from old.
Very good. Yeah, exactly. What happens if they collect it, or the collection crew collect it, it gets taken to a special factory and it gets made into new things. So very good answer. I'll carry on showing you a few more examples, shall I?
You mentioned the fleece hat there. We actually have a uniform option at the Prince of Wales School that uses the same kind of material. We have our eco uniform, so we can buy our school jumpers that are made from plastic bottles.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I've heard that you can get a fleece jumper that's made out of 25 plastic bottles. So that's wonderful that they're in use. That's good to hear. I'll carry on now. These juice cartons, as I said before, they can be made into pencil cases, but they're also made into some very rock hard other things as well. So that's a clipboard. So one thing can be made into very different items. We've got a ruler here. That's made from a circuit board from a computer. And we've got another circuit board item here. And that's also made from a circuit board.
Wow, that's very
cool. It's rather jazzy, isn't it? I like that.
They look
Now we've got just a gift bag here made from recycled paper. We've got another item made from recycled paper here. So we've got the paper there, but on the outside, it's plastic bags, just to make it a little more jazzy. A little out of season, but we've got a CD made into a little snow decoration. And I've got one coaster here made from vending cups, which you just get out of machines when you're out and about wanting a hot chocolate. But we've also got another one. I like this one. It's made from Wellington boot. And this is one of my favorites. And actually, this is where virtual teaching is great, because I'd never be able to show this to all of you in a school because it would be too tiny. But this bicycle is made from a can.
Wow, that is very cool. I wonder if anyone at home's got anything that in their home that's made from a recycled object. I wonder.
They'll have to tell us. Perhaps you could tell us that, and perhaps you could also type in and tell us what your favourite object is out of all of those. I'd like Mr Spracklen, if that's... Sorry, carry on.
I very much like the circuit board. I think that's very cool.
I like that. Would you mind showing us some pictures now? Could you start off with, we're going to talk a little bit about why recycling is important now. If you could show the first one, which is about transforming things. So this is just a little comment about why we recycle and why it's important. I've got 4 points really. The first thing is it recycles things. It transforms one thing into another. As we see, sometimes they're really clever and it looks completely different from the item it's recycled from. So one plastic bottle into a fleece. Another reason why it's important is it helps conserve our resources. And by that I mean, if we chop down a tree to make paper, that's a great shame. It's a waste of a tree. Whereas if we recycle some paper, it means that that tree hasn't been chopped down. We get plastic from oil in the ground, and we also get cans are made from materials that are in the ground. So if we can recycle things, it saves us from getting things from our planet, which is a far better option.
Year 3.
Yeah, lots of people like the clipboards and the bicycles.
The best.
Yeah, the bicycle's always popular. Next slide, if we can. So here we're talking about the fact that recycling saves energy, which is always good. Whilst recycling uses up some energy, you know, we've got a factory, it's making some things from old into new, as we discussed. It's a lot less energy from taking it into the ground and making it into something new. So that's our third point. And our fourth point is it helps tackle climate change, which we all know is a very important subject these days. And the reason for that is when you chop down a tree has got a lot of carbon captured in it, and that be released into the environment. We don't want that to happen. So if you recycle your paper rather than having a tree chopped down, that's a much better thing to do. Thank you very much for that, Mr Spracklen. What we're going to do now is a little bit of sorting. I've got my Blue Peter items here. So what we've got is we've got a pretend food bin. We have got a pretend glass box. And we've got my recycling bin. And as I'm sure you know, I'm just going to move it so you can see my head. Food waste goes into here. Into the box, we have glass bottles and glass jars. And the recycling bin, it's paper, it's card, it's different types of plastics, and it's cans, tins, cans, and aerosol cans as well. So let's do a little bit of sorting, and I might get you to have to think about that as well. So I've got a tissue box here made from cardboard. So that's going to go in my box, or my recycling bin, beg your pardon. I've got a plastic bottle here. So that's going to go into our recycling bin. Right, I'm going to leave this to you for you to think about for a moment. We've got a pizza box. Where do you think that would go? And I'll come back to that. We've got a drinks can here. That would be recycled. It would go into the recycling bin. We've got an egg carton made from cardboard. So that would be recycled in the recycling bin. Now here we've got some tin foil. Foil can be recycled, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but it can't be put into our recycling boxes and containers at home. We'd need to take it to a big yellow container in a car park where it says alu foil. So I'm going to put that to the side for one moment. We've got a food can, and again, cans can be recycled in the recycling bin, so I'm going to put that away. We've got newspaper. That can go in the recycling bin. We've got banana. Now, hopefully you'll have eaten the banana and that won't go to waste, but nobody likes to eat the peel. So the banana peel would go in our food bin or somewhere else, which we'll talk about later. We've got a yogurt pot, and that would go in the recycling bin. Now, this is an interesting one. We've got a juice carton here, and that causes quite a lot of confusion. A lot of people think that that goes in the recycling bin because they think it's cardboard. It is cardboard, but on the inside, we've got a foil liner to make sure that orange juice doesn't go off and taste very nasty. And because of that, we can't put it in the recycling bin. It has to go in a special bin. As we said before, a recycling bank in this big car parks, for instance, the Market car park in Dorchester, it can go in there. So I'm going to put that away to one side. Lots of tubs like this, punnets, they can all be recycled. If you've got your strawberries in there in the summer, they can go in your recycling bin. Got a glass bottle. Again, it's glass, so that can go in the box. If it's broken, please don't put it in because we don't want the crew to cut their fingers. So just wrap it, or ask your adults to wrap it in newspaper and put it in the rubbish bin if it's broken. We've got another food item here, and that would go in the food bin. We've got a glass jar, and the metal lids we can keep on, and that will go in the green box. My bottle, milk bottle, is going to go in here. And actually, bottles from your bathroom can go in there as well, as long as you can rinse them out properly. So that's my shower gel bottle, and that can go in. Oh dear, we've got a nappy here. It is clean, but that would definitely not go in the recycling. That would go in the rubbish bin. So I'm going to put that to one side. Crisp packets, they can't be recycled. Again, they've got some foil in to make sure they don't go stale. So that would have to go either in a special container where some people can recycle crisp packets elsewhere, if that's an option, or it would go in your rubbish bin, but it can't go in your recycling bin outside. Flimsy plastics, things like bread bags and films that go around comics, they can't be recycled. So I'm going to put that to one side. Any sorts of polystyrene. So for example, if you're out and about when we're not in lockdown, might get a bit of soup or some hot chocolate, that can't be recycled. So that would go in your rubbish bin. And our sweet wrappers, again, it's got foil inside to help preserve it. So that would go into your rubbish bin. Did we have any answers on the pizza box?
We haven't had any
not quite sure.
yet, but
no problem.
I'll type in.
I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there for the time being, and I'll talk about something else. Mr. Spracklen, would you mind showing the picture about the recycling banks, please?
No problem at all.
So this is what I was talking about. It's the banks that you can take your juice cartons to. That's the one with the sort of slightly hexagonal shape. You can take them there. And the yellow bank is somewhere where you can put your foil. And also you can take often your shoes and your clothes to places like that. And we call them textile banks. So they can't go in your recycling banks at home or your bins at home, but there are places where you can take them. Thank you. Right, now, these days, quite understandably and quite rightly, people talk about plastics and that it's a great concern for them, which is true. What we say to people is plastic does have its use. It's very hygienic, particularly in places like hospitals. But what we want to try to get people to avoid doing is to buy one thing, use it once and throw it away if they can avoid doing so. So what we're trying to get people to do is reuse their plastics as much as possible. We call it being plastic clever. So this plastic pot is something for your sandwich when you're out and about, having a picnic, definitely in warmer climates than today. You can put your sandwich in there, eat it up when you're out and about, wash it, and then you can use it again. I'm sure most of you have got a bottle, a reusable bottle at home. Use them when you're out and about, when it's hotter climates. Nice to keep you refreshed. Much better than buying a bottle in the supermarkets, drinking it. It's good to recycle it, but it's much better to reuse it. And again, if you want to, especially on a cold day like this, you can have a hot chocolate in your cup when you're out and about, go into a cafe. They will fill it up for you. You can drink it, take it home, wash it, and then use it again. And lastly, when you're out with your parents doing some shopping, try and remember to remind them to have a reusable bag rather than the supermarket bag.
We've got a couple of answers on the pizza box. Rosa says recycling bin. And Lucia says recycle. Dad says he will have the pizza.
That's a very good answer. Yep, I would say definitely you can put that in the recycling bin. Obviously, as there's a little bit of pizza on there, just try and brush that off. But usually they're pretty clean, the boxes. So yeah, well done to those people. That's going in my recycling bin. Wonderful. So we've talked about that. What we're going to move on to now is reusing. Recycling is brilliant, but it's got some sort of impact on the environment. If we can reuse, that's even better. And I've got my lovely teddy bear here. Now, I can't possibly put him in the rubbish bin. I'd hate that. I wonder if you've got any ideas about what we can do with my teddy bear rather than throw him away. I'm going to leave him there, and we'll talk about some other reuse items. Oh. We've got a box here, which would be wonderful for storing things. For instance, if you've got a little bit of jewelry items, they can all go in there. I think it was an ice cream at one point, but that got polished off quite quickly. So they're really good for just storing little things. We've got a cardboard box here. Great for junk modelling if you're getting creative. Sometimes you can cut them and use it for storage for papers. Or you can tear it up and use it for something that I'll talk about in a moment. And lastly, my comic. Well, someone like The Simpsons, maybe you could give it to a younger brother or sister to read if you finished it. Or it's quite good for collage. So again, try and reuse things before you even think about recycling. We're going to now move on to a special bin that you have in your gardens. And I can't remember if you've got one at Prince of Wales schools or not. So you might have one or two, because I know it's a big school. But it's a special bin that you have in your garden, and you can put things like fruit waste and vegetable waste in there. You put flowers in there, and it is a compost bin. Thank you, Mr Spracklen.
We've got
And you
lots
can
of these at the Prince of Wales School up in our nature garden. We've got
Oh,
huge,
how many have you got?
well, we've got huge composting areas. We've got we use pallets to separate the different stages of composting. We have very large areas.
I'm pleased to hear it. Well, you'll be experts though. So we've got our compost bin here, which can look like this, or it can look completely different. It can be made out of wood. And there's a chap putting some compost items into the compost bin. And then it's a bit like compost. It's a bit like cooking. You have to have the right recipe for your composting. So it's good to put all your greens in, things like apple cores and fruit peelings and carrot peelings in there. You can also put tea bags in there and coffee grounds and flowers. Just need to be a little bit careful of weeds. And then, but you also need to put browns in, otherwise it gets a bit soggy and smelly. So things like twigs, newspaper, torn up cardboard, which was what I talked about recently, and cardboard egg boxes torn up are brilliant. And then if you're really patient, you end up with a lovely brown, dark looking soil called compost, which helps your vegetables grow very, very tall. The things that you can't put in your compost bin, meat or fish, definitely you can't put them in. And really anything that's cooked, so things like bread, cakes, not good either. We're going to now move on to a very quick quiz. We've got here some pictures of things that you could put in your compost bin, but there's 3 items here that can't go in your compost bin. So what I'd like you to do as quickly as you can is type in the 3 things that you can't put in your compost bin, and we'll see how we get on. So we have got carrots, we've got a sunflower, we've got a woolly jumper, we've got a cardboard egg box, we've got sausages, we've got nectarines, we've got a cake, and we've got bread. Which 3 things, or you can just type in one thing if you like, can't go in your compost bin?
I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that while I play this song, and then we'll be back. You wash your whole hands front, your whole hands back, this thumb, that thumb, then squidge them all about. You circle with your fingers and don't forget your wrists. That's what it's all about. Now rinse them both with water. Now rinse them both with water. Now dry them with a towel. Well done, clean hands, clap, clap, clap. Okay, Kirsten, we've got a few answers that have come in. Year 1 say cake. You can't put the cake in.
That is correct.
Year
What
1
a waste of a cake, putting that in the
Year
compost
1
bin.
also says you can't put the sausages in.
Yep, correct. You can't put sausages in. It meat. Well done.
Rosa says cake, bread, and sausages.
That is absolutely correct, Rosa. Well done. Can't put bread either because it's cooked food.
Also says sausages, bread, and cake. Year 3 says sausages, cake, and the jumper.
Now, the jumper is an interesting one. The jumper is made completely from wool, and wool is a natural product. It comes from sheep. So actually, technically, you can put your woolly jumper in the compost bin. Having said that, please don't go and get your best jumper or your mum's or dad's best jumper and put it in there, because you and I will both be in a lot of trouble. But that's just a little bit of fun.
Year 4 say cake, jumper, and sausage. Year 2 say sausage, bread, and cake.
Well done.
Jacob says the shirt. I think you mean the jumper there, Jacob, but thank you. Year 1 say bread. So lots and lots of responses there to that quiz.
Wonderful. And did we have any answers on the teddy bear, or shall we just mention that quickly?
Well, I don't think we've had any on this. Yeah.
Okay. Right. My teddy bear, I think probably the best thing to do is give it to somebody that maybe a neighbour. Obviously, we need to be careful in these times, but a neighbour maybe who's expecting a young child, a baby, you could give it to them, a younger brother or sister, or when the charity shops are open, you could take it there. But definitely be ashamed to put them in the rubbish bin. Lovely. Well, that really concludes what I have been here to talk to you about. But what I've made available to Mr Spracklen are some activity sheets, so I can show you them very quickly, just so you know what you're doing, although I'm sure you'd know. So could
And
we have a picture of
we'll
the
make
word
sure
search?
I'll make sure that I email these out after, and you can also get them on this link. So if anyone wants to take a picture or write this link down, I'll leave this link up on the screen. So we've got some activity sheets, we've got some word searches.
Yep, and there's 2 different levels, so you can choose which one you're happiest with. You can obviously colour them in if you'd like to. The reason there's a picture of a wizard is because sometimes when I'm with very young children, we have a puppet called Walter, the wizard. So that explains that. And on the other side, you can decide what items go into which bins. And again, you can colour them as well. And one's been done already for you. We talked about the nappies, and that would go in your rubbish bin, not in your recycling bin. And the other thing I've...
Oh,
sorry. The other thing I've left with Mr Spracklen is a web link to 3 short videos showing you where our recycling, our food waste and our garden waste is taken to. So enjoy looking at them too.
Kirsten, thank you so very much for your time this morning. We've really enjoyed your input here at the Prince of Wales School, and it's helped us to refocus on our eco work. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in.
Day, everyone. We'll finish with this flashback to 2019 when we had our Eco Science Week.
Ooh.
What shall we do with all this plastic? What shall we do with all this plastic? Head into the ocean.
Tell Mum and Dad we think we should
Use toothbrushes that are made of wood.
They degrade and work as good.
Keep the ocean cleaner. What shall we do with all this plastic? What shall we do with all this plastic? What shall we do with all this plastic? Head into the ocean.
Plastic bags can cause commotion.
Turtles eat them in the ocean. A bag full of life is the best solution. Keep the ocean cleaner. What shall we do with all this plastic? What shall we do with all this plastic? What shall we do with all this plastic? Head into the ocean.
Use paper, cloth and glass instead.
Recycle waste in our eco shed.
Don't let it end up on our seabed.
Keep our ocean cleaner. What shall we do with all this plastic? What shall we do with